second normal form. Second normal form is used in database normalization. A relation is in second normal form if it fulfills the following two requirements. Two requirements are needed. First is it must be in first normal form. On this, I have already made a video. The link is given in the description box. And the second condition is it has no partial dependency. That is, the relation should not have any partial dependency. Now, what is partial dependency? When subset of a primary key or a candidate key determines a non-prime attribute. Suppose there is a relation R with the attributes A, B, C, D, and E, and AB is the candidate key. The candidate key is AB, and the functional dependencies are B determines C and AB determines DE. Then in these two functional dependencies, this will create problem. This is having partial dependency because, as the definition says, when subset of a primary key. So AB is a primary key, or you can say the candidate key. So part of it, this is a set, this is one set, AB is one set, and the subset is B. So B alone is identifying or determining C. So thus this FD is having partial dependency. In the next FD, that is AB determines DE, there is no partial dependency as DE is dependent on both the attributes in the candidate key. We can say that the part of the candidate key should not determine any non-prime attribute. C is a non-prime attribute and it is dependent on the part of the candidate key B. Thus, this is partial dependency. Or you can say that if A determines D, then there is also partial dependency because a non-prime attribute, which is D, is dependent on the part of the candidate key E, A. It should be dependent on the whole A, B. Then it is okay. If it is dependent on the part of it, then there is problem. So there should not be any partial dependency. If it is there, then we need to remove this partial dependency. Now, prime attributes, if attribute is part of any of the candidate key, then it is the prime attribute. That is, in this relation, A and B are the prime attributes as they are part of the candidate key. And the remaining other attributes, C, D, E, are the non-prime attributes. Let us understand this with an example. There is a relation with three attributes: roll number, course number, and course fee. Here, each course can have the same or the different fees, and one student can study one or more courses. Generally, in a relation, the functional dependencies are given, but if they are not given, then you need to derive them. Let's see, does roll number identifies course number uniquely or not? Let's see. So for roll number 5, the course value is C1. For other roll number, for the other value, I am getting C5. So if I say ki which course roll number 5 is doing, I am getting two different values, C1 and C5. So for roll number 5, two different values means it is not uniquely identifying. Thus, this FD does not work. Next is, does roll number uniquely identifies course fee? Let's check. If I say what is the course fee for roll number 5, I am getting two different values, 2000 and 3000. So it is also not identifying uniquely. So roll number does not identify the course fee uniquely as well. So this FD does not work. Next, course number. Does course number uniquely identify roll number? Let's check. That is course number. For course number C1, roll number is 5, fine. For course 2, roll number is 6, fine. Course 5, fine. C4, 8, fine. C1, 8. Now we have two values, C1 and C1. And if I say ki for course number, which student is doing course number C1, I am getting two different values, 5 and 8 for the same course. So it is not uniquely identifying a tuple. So this FD will not work. And similarly, I will check it for the other attribute. Does course number uniquely identifies course fee? So for course C1, the fees is 2000. For course C1, 2000. Means for course C1, I am getting a single value 2000, 2000 in both rows. So it is uniquely identifying. C2, for C2, is there any other C2? No. So unique value 1000. For course C5, is there any course 5 another value? No. So there is unique value 3000. Similarly with C4 and C3. So for C1, I am getting a single value 2000 in both the rows. So it is uniquely identifying. Thus this FD will work. So let me write course number uniquely identifies course fee. For the third attribute, I will check, does course fee uniquely identifies roll number? So for value 2000, there are 3 times 2000, 2000, 2000, 2000. Am I getting a single value? No, I am getting three different values, 5, 8 and 8. I am getting two values, 5 and 8. So it is not uniquely identifying. Let me check it for the other value, other attribute, sorry, course fee identifying course number. That is 3 times 2000 is here, 2000, 2000, 2000. Am I getting a single value for 2000? No, I am getting different values C1 and C4. Thus, it is not uniquely identifying. This FD does not work. So till here, we have found only one FD, that is course number uniquely identifies course fee. Now let us find two attribute functional dependencies. So I am taking these two attributes, roll number, comma, course fee. So, sorry, course number. I am taking these two attributes, roll number and course number. Does it identify course fee? Let's check. So, roll number 5, course 1. The course fee is 2000. For the same roll number 5, the course is different. Unique values 5 C1, 5 C1, 5 C5. I am getting 3000. So, both the rows are unique. Thus, it is uniquely identifying. For roll number 6, course 2 and course 3, and the fees is 1000 and 3000. So both the rows are different. They are giving unique values. Thus, it is also correct. Now let us check for roll number 8. Roll number 8 is doing two different courses, C1 and C4. So combining roll number and course, I am getting unique values. This FD works. Next combination, roll number and course fee does uniquely identify course number. Let's check. Roll number 5 and course fee 2000. Then roll number 5, course fee 3000. Two different combinations. I am getting different values. That is course number C1 and C5. So values are unique, rows are unique, tuples are unique. So this combination is uniquely identifying tuples, no problem. Next is roll number 6 and the fees is 1000. Roll number 6 fees is 1000. For the other roll number 6 fees is 3000. For two different combinations, I am getting different values. That is C5 and C3. Sorry, C2 and C3. C2 and C3. No problem. It is uniquely identifying tuples. No problem in this. Next combination is roll number 8 and the course fee is 2000. Next roll number is 8 and course fee is 2000. So 8 2000, 8 2000. I'll write once only. I am getting two different values, that is C1 and C4. Here is a problem. Here is a problem because for a single combination I am getting two different values. Thus it is not uniquely identifying all the tuples. Thus this FD will not work. Next combination is course number and course fee. Course number and course fee. Does this combination uniquely identifies roll number? Let's check. Course number is C1 and course fee is 2000. And I am getting roll number 5. Then there is again C1 and 2000. C1 comma 2000, I am getting roll number 8. So in this first try only we are getting different values. For a single combination, that is C1 comma 2000, I am getting two different values, 5 and 8. Course 1 and the fee 2000 giving two different values. Thus it is not uniquely identifying a tuple. Thus this FD also fails. Hence we have checked all the combinations for a single attribute and two combination attributes. Combining all the three attributes will definitely give us the unique values, but it will be considered as a super key. Thus in all finally we get two functional dependencies. One is this and the second one is this. So finally we have these two functional dependencies for this relation. After getting the functional dependencies, our first step is to find the candidate key. Our candidate key for this relation will be roll number and the course number. This is our candidate key. Now how to get the candidate key? On this I have already made few videos. You can watch those videos. The link is given in the description box. After finding the candidate key, the next step is finding the prime attributes and non-prime attributes. So prime attributes will be roll number and course number. Prime attributes are those attributes which are the part of any of the candidate key. One relation can have many candidate keys. Here we have one candidate key, roll number, course number. So these two attributes will be the prime attributes as they are part of the candidate key. And non-prime attributes, remaining attribute is the course fee. So course fee will be the non-prime attribute. After having all these things, that is the functional dependencies, candidate key, prime attributes, now non-prime attributes. Now we will check whether this relation is in normal form or not. For this, we need to check two requirements. The first requirement is the relation must be in first normal form. So this relation is in first normal form as there are atomic values in this relation. Second condition, that there should not be any partial dependency. If there is partial dependency, then we need to remove that dependency. So let's check for the partial dependency. Checking this FD, course fee is dependent on course number and roll number. So both the attributes roll number and course number are the part of the candidate keys. So there is no partial dependency in this. This FD is correct, as this non-prime attribute, course fee is the non-prime attribute, is dependent on the candidate key. Fine. The other FD, in other FD, course fee is dependent on the course number. Here it is partial dependency as the non-prime attribute. Course fee is dependent on the part of the candidate key. Which is our candidate key? Roll number and course number. In these two attributes, it is dependent only on the part of this, on the subset of this. Partial dependency definition I have told you that when subset of a primary key or the candidate key determines a non-prime attribute. So part of the, that is this is a set, this is one set, and the subset will be course number. So subset, that is the course number, is identifying a non-prime attribute. Hence here is partial dependency. So this table is not in normal form. To convert this table, what we do, we break this table into two tables, or we can say that to remove partial dependency, we will separate this functional dependency in a new table. FD which is containing partial dependency or creating, or you can say creating problem, should be separated. And to separate this one table into two tables, first this FD is creating problem, so we will make one table containing these attributes, that is course number and course fee. The course number and course fee will contain these values, and the other table will be roll number and the course number. These are the two tables. Now these two relations are in normal form. We always keep one attribute in common in the tables. Here course number is present here also and here also. As to join two tables, we need one attribute common. And here in this table I have written C1 2000 only once, because C1 2000, C1 2000, this is the redundant data, we will write only once. But here with 5, two different course numbers are associated, C1 and C5, so we will write all the roll numbers and the course number. Hence this relation is now free of partial dependency, and thus this table is in second normal form. Let's see another example with the attributes in general. So there is a relation R with the attributes A, B, C, D, E, and these functional dependencies. A, B determines C, D, C determines D, D determines E, and B determines C. And we have to check is this relation in second normal form or not. Now we have the functional dependencies with us. So our first step is to find the candidate key. So for this relation, the candidate key will be A, B. Now how to find the candidate key? You can watch the videos on finding the candidate keys. Next step is to find the prime attributes and non-prime attributes. So prime attribute will be AB, A comma B, and non-prime attributes will be other than AB, which is C, D, E. So C comma D comma E. Now we will check the two requirements to be in second normal form. First is whether it is in first normal form or not. So when the relation is given in this form with no data values, we consider it in first normal form. Now the second condition is whether there is partial dependency or not. So let's see, checking the first functional dependency, AB determines CD. So C and D are dependent on AB, and AB is our candidate key. So this functional dependency is okay, no problem with this, because the non-prime attributes C and D are non-prime attributes, are fully functionally dependent on the candidate key, the whole candidate key AB. Second FD, C determines D. Now according to partial dependency, non-prime attribute should not be dependent on the subset of the primary key. Is D non-prime attribute? Yes, D is non-prime attribute. Is C a subset of the candidate key? No, C is not subset of the candidate key. Our candidate key is AB and C is not part of this candidate key. So the non-prime attribute is not dependent on the subset of the primary key. So this FD is also okay for this second normal form. Now next FD, D determines E. Is E a non-prime attribute? Yes, it is a non-prime attribute. And is D a subset of the candidate key? No, it is not the subset. So no problem. This FD is also okay. That is, non-prime attribute should not be dependent on the subset of the primary key, and E is not dependent on the subset of the primary key, and D is not the subset. So this FD is also okay. Now the last FD, is C a non-prime attribute? Yes, C is a non-prime attribute. And is B a subset of the primary key? Yes, B is a subset of the primary key, AB. AB का subset है B. So here this FD is creating problem. This FD is having partial dependency. As sentence says, non-prime attribute should not be dependent on the subset of the primary key. And here non-prime attribute is dependent on the subset of the primary key. B is the subset of this primary key. So this relation is not in second normal form, as this functional dependency has partial dependency. Now we need to remove this partial dependency. To remove this, we will break this relation into two relations. It could be three relations also, depending how many functional dependencies have partial dependency. So here only one FD is having partial dependency. So there will be total two tables. So I will keep this functional dependency in the other table. Hence there will be two relations, R1 and R2. In R1, I will keep the attributes forming the candidate key, that is AB. Now AB, which attributes I can determine with AB? From AB I can determine CD, but C is here. C will be present here in this FD or in this relation. So I will not keep C here, I will keep D. So A, B, D. In R2, I will keep this functional dependency attributes, that is B and C, because this is creating problem. So we separated these attributes. So B, C. From C, I can determine D, and from D, I can determine E. Hence, this one relation R is broken down into two relations, R1 and R2, because of this partial dependency. And now this relation is free from partial dependency, and this is converted into second normal form. One more thing, for second normal form, these two FDs are not creating any problem. But in third normal form, these two FDs will create problem due to transitive dependency. But here we are not discussing the third normal form. So in second normal form, these two FDs are fine. Only one FD is creating problem. Finally, the result is this.